Welcome along, everybody. Welcome along to my live Cheltenham preview. I'm just trying something new, so bear with me for 2 seconds and then we're going to start. Yeah, let's kick on, shall we? Our Cheltenham 2026 preview. Well, welcome back. It's been a quick year. Flag to finish race and Mark Fanning. First of all, this video is going to preview the 4 days racing. 7 races each day. I have some mad big price selections, as I normally do, and we'll try and get 1 or 2 over the board. I'm really confident with my handicap selections this year. As I said, this is an anti-post preview, but before I go any further, for anybody that is delving in, I'm going to link each race on every day in the comments below. So all you have to do is go to the comments, click it. You'll see my first comment will be it. I will divide there'll be a timestamp on every race for every day. It'll be race 1, day 2, day 3, so forth. But now, let's kick on. 2026 Cheltenham preview. It's Christmas Eve. This is going to be a little bit different this year. I'm going to kind of divide it as the days go along. But I had to get my anti-post, even though we're less than 4 days away from the festival now. I think there's some value to be had now. And with all major bookmakers going non-run or no bet, it's a great time to try and put some of these puzzles together and try and get a couple of big price selections, maybe even in a couple of doubles, trebles, fourfolds, couple of lucky 15s even. Small money can get big results, and with the odds I'm going to tip in some of these handicaps, if we can get 4 of those placed in a lucky 15 placed even, we're going to make some money. And that's what it's all about. It's all about having a bit of fun, and that's what it's all about. I've been really looking forward to this year's festival, but devastating news reaches a couple of hours ago. My fan favourite Galloping the Champs is out, and it's gutting. I really fancied him for the race, and I know it's easy to say it after he's not going, but I'd done a preview over a week ago and I was so sweet on Galloping, and I could not see him being out of the first 3 and at the prices. I just thought he was being disrespected really. A 2-time winner of the Gold Cup, and of course a very good second in last year's renewal. But look, he's not in. Hopefully we can see him run one last time if he's safe and well, maybe at the Punchestown Festival. It'd be fantastic to see. I know that if he runs again, I'm definitely going to be wherever he runs. But look, as I said, we're going to kick straight to it. As I said, I'm going to go through every race on over the 4 days, and like it's a fantastic festival. As I said, have fun with it, enjoy it. As the Supreme Novice is the first race on the Tuesday, 120, that famous roar. I was there last year. Copac the Bows lifted home by Paul Town and got the Irish off to a flyer, and it was a fantastic scene to be there. But I'm not going to be there this year. I'm going to be in Limerick, of course, Thursday before race, and I am hosting the panel for the Boyle Sports preview on before racing on Thursday. So if anyone's in Limerick, get down. It's going to be a cracking day's racing, and of course you get to hear myself's thoughts, Emmett McNamara, Mark Enright, and Michael Hourigan. But it's going to be a great day's racing down there. If you can't get over to England, I would. It's the only racing that takes place in Ireland on Cheltenham Week, so you need to get down to Limerick. Anyway, let's kick on. The Supreme Novices Hurdle, fantastic race, won by some greats down through the years. Old Park Star tops the betting here, short one for Nicky Henderson and Nico de Bible. I'm very sweet and talk. I think he should be a 2-time Grade 1 winner. You know how much I've this Born to See, gelded son of Born to See, how much admiration I have for him. I think he would have been a very unlucky loser at the DRF now. Had he had a hard race, maybe, but he got up and he beat Ballyford by a short head. He fell at Christmas when going to win his Grade 1 after being unbeaten over hurdles. I was in Limerick today. He won his maiden hurdle. Connections won that maiden hurdle with Mr. Percy. I was really taken by that performance that day. And you'll see certain maidens throughout the year on the flat, on over hurdles, over fences, where certain trainers start their horses as a stepping stone to go on and do good things. And Mr. Percy was that horse last 2 years ago now, and 24, and this horse took it in 25 in October. So they always held him in high regard. Then went on to Fairy House, was a very impressive winner under Sam Ewan, beating Noam Slippy, trouncing him by 7.5 lengths in Fairy House in the Grade 3 novice. Then what looked like he was going to absolutely hose up in that novice Grade 1, the Skylight Hustle won. Sam Ewan again was in saddle. JJ was out. I think he was hurt at the time. And then came back, and of course at the DRF, the meeting that we didn't know whether it was going to go ahead, and that Grade 1 novice hurdle, and got up to beat Ballyfad by a short head in what was a very eye-catching run. I think talk the talk, he's walk the walk. Will he go here now? There's questions about him going to the turners. If he goes there, he's going to take a lot of beating, but for me, talk the talk will get the job done and get us off to a good start. I think at 5-1 he represents tremendous each way value for a bet to nothing really to be in the top three. El Kairos, he's jumping. Look, a lot of people say it about his jumping, but Gordon holds him in high regard. I was in Torres the day he won. He was down his nose and still went away and won super impressively. And when the way Gordon's talking about him, he doesn't really hype horses like that. Barry can back it up, and he looks like he has an engine. Park Star for me, he is a worthy favourite, but he's too short. I think 2-1 for what he's done and the horse he's beat. Now I know he's trounced him and he can only beat what's in front of him. Mighty Park, for me, one run isn't enough to have him that short. I'm not saying he won't win. He looked devastating on that performance, but for me, one run at 3-1. There's plenty of other horses here. Like the one I would really fancied each way was Sober. Might go here, might go to the longer race. And I think this lad is definitely the each way value. I'll touch on him maybe in the. I think he might go for he could go for the turners as well. So I'll touch on him and the turners. He's one that I've been tipping at big prices, and I think even now I'd rather take a little fiver each way and Sober if he turns up. Talk to talk for me though. I think he gets the job done and does it well in the Supreme Novice. Then we're going to kick to the Arkle. Another race won by some greats down through the years after coming before they go on and try and win the champion chase in the following year. But for me, Kopak the Bows, he's been hammered again now. He's into 6-4. He was 5-2 a little over 2 weeks ago. I'm very sweet on him. We have only seen him once over fences, but when he won in Navan, it was breathtaking. I thought last year's Supreme Novice Hurdle winner, of course, had a little blip in coming back in at Punchestown, was beaten, but I think he was just tired that day and things didn't go right. But he looked absolutely scintillating in Navan. I thought the way he jumped, and if you watch back some of the freeze frame photographs that were released, you could just see Paul Townend, the way he was smiling on board him. I just think he was a joy to watch. He trounced Lovely hurling by 13 lengths. Lulamba for me, I can't have Lalamba. Not saying that he won't win, but I just think if you look back, right, what has he beaten this year? Again, he's done it impressively, but he looked unbeatable going into last year's Triumph and got ran down by Poneros, and a debutant over hurdles for Willie Mullins at 100-1. I just think I would rather, I can't, that just sticks in the back of my mind sometimes with Cheltenham. And Cheltenham is a real horses for courses form. Kopak has went and done it. I just think if you take into account the vibes that you were getting out, he worked after racing above in Navan up Furios, I think it was, and there was absolutely, from all accounts, it was like a race the way they rode him. It wasn't just a float around, pop one or two. It was a real piece of work, and I just think Kopak the Boss, for me, will get the job done in the Arkle. If there was one to sneak into the places here, if he runs, I'm very sweet in Capazio Pike. Now, I'm not too sure if it's going to run. He had a couple of entries, but he's only left in the Arkle. And if you go back, I think this lad is coming in the radar. Very underrated for what he's achieved and the way he's achieved it. He's 2 for 2 over fences. I was in Turles the day he ran down Salvador Monday. I thought Danny was very good in him that day, and maybe they might have stolen it, and Salvador wasn't at his best. Salvador has since went away and absolutely trounced up in Turles as well after that. But if you go back then to his second start over fences in the Grade 3 novice at Punchestown, where he absolutely came there swinging and pulled away. The way he finished the race, he beat Jacob's Ladder and Predator's Gold by 3.5 lengths and another length back to Predator's Gold. Trounced him, I thought, and done a lot of nice work early or late on. I just think this lad could smuggle himself into the race, and the way he finished the race in Punchestown, I was super impressed with. I was very impressed with him in Turles, but look, albeit was it I wouldn't say a fluke on the day, but if you take Salvador Monday out at racing Turles, what was really in behind. But the way he done in Punchestown, I think this lad is very underrated for what he's done. And I think because his hurdle form wasn't sparkling, but if you take into account that he had he ran in some decent races, and when he went to Aintree in the Grade 1, I actually tipped him because I thought he was, again, after taking out that not under par for him, but only finished middle of the pack in the turners behind the new line, beating 30 lengths. He was 101 that day in the hands of Sean O'Keefe. But if you go back to his maiden hurdle win in Punchestown, that was scintillating. 17 lengths winner of 21 runners by beating Brave Brigadier. And then was absolutely hammered in the betting after going to Aintree. I think if this lad turns up here at a price, he is going to take tremendous value. I think Romeo Coolio, will he go here or further? I'm not too sure. I'm really sweeting Romeo Coolio all year, but he could have had a couple of hard races. But for me, call back to Bowes. If the long layoff doesn't affect him, I think. And hey, Willie Mullins used to bring out Quevega once a year, and there was nothing about it. But look, it's a different type of a race, this. But for me, call back to Bowes will get the job done impressively if he turns up to form. That concludes the article. We're going to go straight to the first handicap. Now, I'm so sweet on some of these handicap selections, but again, a lot of them are double entered. I'm going to do mini previews every day, and that's when we see where the entries are. But I just need to get this out now. This is the juvenile handicap hurdle. It's over 2 miles. I have one here I was raving about, Keslar for Joseph O'Brien. You know, I'm a big fan of Joseph, the way he places these horses. I think this lad has had some very good runs since coming over from France. He was a winner on the flat over mile 6. Ran in the colours of the Aga Khan, was then obviously purchased. Joseph sourced him. He made his debut in Cork, was the choice of JJ Slevin that day. Finished 5th. The yard actually won it with Glen to Glen, but it'll just go to show you that they thought this lad held this lad in high regard. Then went to Leopardstown and was 9th. He was beaten 30 lengths by Hardy Stuff. And then his last run was in Punchestown, where he was 3rd. It was very eye-catching 3rd though, behind Kilmeaden, a very good horse of Donegal O'Brien's, that was a maiden hurdle. I just think if this lad, he could be mapped out for this race. Keslar, I was on him at 16 to 1. He's still available to 12s to 14s in spots. He's into 10s though in some spots. Saratoga tops the market at 5 to 1. Of course, the yard won the race with Brazil, and it could be mapping it out as well. But for me, I think Keslar, and they're going to get those extra places, represents the value for me. Then we're going to go to the Ultima. I had one here, Massive Odds is not entered now. The other one that I was going to select in the race was Handstands, Ben Paulin's runner. Second run after wind up. A grade 1 winner. Not too long ago. It was back in Sandown in February last year, where he won that novice chase, beating Django Bay by a short head, and has some very good runs since. He's had a wind surgery, has his second run since that, ran in Windsor, and sometimes these horses can run. It takes their second run for them to really show the effects of the wind ups. For me, if he can carry the weight, he's got 11-12. That's the only thing. But Ben Jones and Ben Paulin, when they combine, they are one of the shrewdest operations in the game, definitely in the UK at the minute. And I just think Handstands could be a bit of class here and should give himself a very good account. Then we're going to go to the feature race of day 1. This is the champion hurdle. A lot of talk on what's going to go here. I actually think Lassie Mount's going to run here. I think it might, arguably, they say it might be an easier contest. I just think that she has to go here now. She was a super impressive winner of the mares. Her form though is absolutely scintillating. Now, she got ran down the last day and she got trounced by Brighter Days Ahead. She's had to measure her more times than not, and arguably it was a shock. She was beaten by 3 1/4 lengths by Brighter Days Ahead. But for me, Lassie Mount here, I think the vibes are it's all systems go, and this is her track. Like she as I said, she was a scintillating winner of the mayor's hurdle last year. But if you go back, she is, a 3-time winner now at the festival. She won the Triumph hurdle. She went and won that mayor's hurdle, and she backed it up again last year. So for me, I think she's going to go 4 from 4 at the festival and win the champion hurdle. The one that I was fancying each way, if Lassie Mount wasn't going here, was at the time, and I've actually backed her at big prices, just because I thought this race might cut up and you mightn't have the 8 runners, was Anzadam. If you go back 3 runs ago, this girl, the son of Authorized, was favourite for the fighting, well, joint favourite for the fighting fifth, you could say, and was only beaten a length and a half by Golden Ace. Still looks a bit like he could take a ride, but I think when they go up pace in these races, those tricky ones can often be able to slot away, and the pace can help them settle. So I think if this lad puts it together on the day, there's a bit of an engine there. Anzadam, you do worse to have a euro each way, and McCann of the New Lion. I know he was a winner of the Turners last year, but it's not a horse that I just can take to really. So I'm going to, like, if Lassie Mouse turns up, I think she's going to be the one they all have to beat, really. And wouldn't it be a story if Golden Ace could run another race? Then we're going to go to the plate handicap chase. The plate handicap chase. It's an interesting contest here. There's a few that I fancied in the race. I'm not too sure what's going to turn up here at the minute, but one that catches the eye for me could be Paul Nichols's Cubacus at 20-1. I think he could give a good account of himself, and I'm going to wait for declarations to really have a pop at this race. There was one of Joseph's in there as well, I thought. I can't see him there now. Maybe it wasn't this race, it could be a different race. But for me at the minute, I'm going to stick with Paul Nichols's Quebecos. Okay, then we're going to go to the final race of day one. This is the National Hunt Cup. It's the 3 mile 6. And I'm sweet on one here. Newtown Tornado for Rebecca Curtis. Connections won the race last year. Well, the trainer won the race last year with what is going to be one of the leading fancies of the Gold Cup, Hottie or Colors. Newtown Tornado has some very, very good form. I was looking back through its form. It turns out I done a preview with Sean Flanagan last week, over a week ago, and I was just ran down through my handicap selections, 3 or 4 best of them of the week. This guy was entered in 2 races. I didn't know where he was going, and he repeated the name. I goes, you must have a ride in the race that you know the name of this lad. He'd been watching the form, and he goes, I'm actually after getting the call to ride it a couple of hours ago. So maybe fate aligned, and I think Newtown Tornado, around 7-1 now in spots, could be the one they all have to beat here. As I said, I went through the form. I'm not going to bore you with the form. The preview is going to be long enough, but Newtown Tornado for me, and of course that eye-catching Sean Flanagan booking. Then we're going to go to the first race of day 2. This is the Turner's Novice Hurdle. Again, some of the main protagonists here are entered into the Supreme Novice Talk to Talk. There's been a lot of money here. I'm praying he stays in the Supreme, only because I've been back at Andy Post to 14s for the Supreme. But if he turns up here, I think he's going to definitely take the beating. No drama this end. Paul Nichols's runner with Harry Cobden in the saddle, grade 1 winner the last day, runs in those McNeil colours. It was great scenes after this lad won his grade 1. It'd be great to see the McNeil family having this big grade 1 winner at the festival. They've had a lot of runners here at the festival, and I'm not too sure if they've had a festival winner. I know for a long time they didn't, and it'd be great to see. Those colours are in the game a long time now, so no drama this end would be great to see him get over the line. There is a couple of interesting ones in it. As I said, Sober for me, he's going to take, for me, I think this lad is very much overlooked. Son of Camelot, he won his maiden hurdle in Killarney. I was down there that day, and I thought he was impressive enough after coming over from France. So he won on debut. He was short, but he went to Royal Ascot and won the Queen Alexander Straits. Absolutely trounced Gordon's Saoumi by 5 lengths, and then came back over hurdles in January in Punchestown, beating Road Exile in a novice grade 2 by 5.5 lengths. I don't know, this lad has gone under the radar for me. I think Sober, as I said, I was tipping him at 16s. He's into 12s, even 10s in some spots now, and I think Sober for me, there's a few people talking about him now, but I think he's tremendous value in this race, being honest, or whatever novice race he turns up in. Again, I'm hoping to talk stays into Supreme. If he doesn't, look, I'm going to fancy for here, but I won't be on him here, and he's going to be short. So for me, you know me, I like my big prices. I think Sober will be definitely my each way play. Okay, the Brown Advisory is race 2 on day 2, and the final demand is 130 now. He was shorter, of course. he looked very, very impressive when winning over fences. His first two starts, he won that the Faheen Grade 1 down in Limerick at Christmas time, beating Goal Dancer by 8 lengths, and looked absolutely. I thought even though he looked very good that day, I just thought he didn't wow me, if that makes sense. And then he got turned over then by Cad Dutari at the DRF, but it wouldn't even be the fact that Cad Dutari beat him. It was the fact that he looked very tired, and he actually finished third that day. Western Fold actually beat him for the second spot, and he was 8 lengths back behind Western Fold. So for me, he's going to have to bounce back now. He looked bomb-proof, impressive going to the festival last year, and he was one of my strongest novices bets at the meeting last year. But he got turned over by the New Lion. But not only that, he looked like he put in the run he did at Leopardstown. So maybe he has that out of the way. And maybe, again, for me, horses sometimes, I can't really forgive them sometimes for not turning up at the festival. And he didn't turn up at the festival. It wasn't like he got ran down out of it. So for me, I'm going to take him on here. I'm after losing my notes now. I think Cade Dutari for me is still overpriced. I just think this lad has been scintillating. You know, he beat Wingman in Fairyhouse in the beginner's chase by 10 lengths, and Wingman for me, he's a good yardstick. Like I fancied him in a couple of big races last year and even this year, and I have him in a bet later in the week. So if you beat Wingman by 10 lengths, it's a fair performance. He was second behind Kidsbula in Punchestown on his chase debut, but then he won that Grade 1 at Leopardstown. I thought he was just absolutely scintillating. I think he could be a big player here. So I really fancy Cade Dutari at the prices, definitely each way. Like, you're nearly going to be 5-1. He's going to take the beating for me, I think. Then we're going to go to the race 3. It's a handicap 2 miles 5. 2 mile 5. There's a one in here that I like, but he's multiple entered. Is Jump Allen for Willie Mullins. He's got 3 entries on the week. I just think this lad, if you look back at his form, he's had some nice runs. He was very good in Sandown in April when Harry Cobden rode him. I thought he was very, very good that day, winning one of those big handicaps. But the last day he came out was in February. It was one of those challenge races, okay? So it's for riders that they're not jockeys, they work in the yards, and it's kind of a charity race. But if you watch back its run, it looked like a piece of work, and it absolutely breezed by him. I just think, as mad as it sounds, that could have him set right here. And I think Jump Allen, he's got a couple of entries, one in the Martin Pipe, one here, and one in the county hurdle as well at 40s. He was 16-1 when I was tipping him. He's into 12s. You'll probably get 16s in places. I think this lad could be the one for one of these handicaps. Jump Allen. Then we're going to go to the cross country race, which is race 4 on day 2. It's a race this year that I'm going to wait and see what actually declares. But there is one at a mad odds at the minute. If he runs, is Faka Dudari's, a horse that I absolutely love, and Joseph O'Brien trade him in the colours of JP McManus. But he's since obviously stayed in the JP colours, gone to Enda Bulgers, who was the maestro. He was the king of the Banks races, the king of the cross country, and Enda Bulger could be back here in the big time with Faka Dudari's. He's about 25-1 at the minute. He's an 11-year-old now. The legs wouldn't be as fast as they once was, but they don't have to be in the cross country. This is going to be just a hunt around safely and be there turning in. That's what this is going to be, and stay on up that hill. And at 11 years of age, he's a bit of class. He's only going to have 10-7 at the minute, but again, I'll wait and see what way they declare. I think at the odds, I'd rather take a chance here with Faka Dudari's. Then we're going to go to the feature race of day 2. This is the Queen Mother Champion Chase. Again, one of those folklore races down through the years, watching it. The big news during the week, Marie Nationale, who I thought was going to take a bit of beating if he could recover from his run in the DRF. He's out. He picked up a niggle. Was it at the DRF? I'm beginning to think maybe it was. But who am I to know, or who have any of us to know? But we hope to see him back next year. Marsborough is super short at the minute. It was very, very impressive at Dublin. He is going to take the beating here. I think he gets the job done now, especially with Marine out. His run in the Arkle last year, the mistake he made, was it the second last or the last? We were actually at that fence. I was standing by it, and the mistake he made, and still was only beaten 3 parts of a length by Django Boy. It was a performance in itself. Yeah, Marsborough is going to take the beating here. The one I was tipping each way at big odds last week was Quilixios. I think that he'll run a cracker here. Henry's horses will have to bounce back for me though. That's going to be the key. You're going to see some of them run during the Tuesday and earlier on in the card. So if they're running well, or if you could get a winner on the board early, I would be so sweet on Quilixios. I was tipping him up at 16s or 20s when Marine National is in. He's into 7s now. He was running a stormer last year, and this is the last time we've seen him when he fell. I actually think he might have put it up to the winner, being honest with you. He was battling the whole way. Like, he's super. I think he runs super well fresh, being honest with you. Like, this lad he won the Triumph. He hasn't had a whole lot of starts since, but what he does do is he does put in. He's a very good horse, this Quilixios. He's still only 9. He's only got 9 runs over fences. Yeah, I think he could run a cracker. Now the prices he's getting a bit short for me, but this race could really cut up because John Ban is not going to go here. They're saying he's going to go to Aintree now. So for me, I think Quilixios still represents the value. I would like to get closer to 10-1 at like 16s and 20s last week was a steal, but look, I think Marsborough will get the job done. Then we're going to go to the Johnny Henderson, the Grand Annual, of course. The Grand Annual used to be the final race of the meeting. Now it's on the second last race on the second day for some reason. It's a 2-mile handicap. The one I think could be very, very interesting here is Calico for Dan Skelton. It'd be interesting to see. Now, it's a 10-year-old, has some very, very good form, especially around the track. Very interesting and has been in very good form this year, but has 11-12. I would like to know what will happen if they declare, and if they do, will they claim off it? Because Dan Skelton has a lot of good. He's 2 very good claimers in the yard. Tristan Durrell, I think he still claims 3, and there's another guy that the name escapes me. He's well able to ride. So be interesting to see. So for me, Calico at the prices at 16-1 could give a good account of himself in the Johnny Henderson. Then the final race of day 2 is the bumper, and this is again a puzzle to piece out. The one that we have a lot less knowledge going into this year's one. Like, we haven't seen a whole pile of them come up against each other. The one that interests me though, that I thought was very good on debut, was the Irish Avatar at 9-1. Paddy Mullins won on him and Navan. I thought he was very, very good. He beat Low Kick by 9 lengths. But again, the bumper sometimes can be a lottery. Now, it has been a lucky enough race for me. But for me, the Irish Avatar was the one that really, really caught my eye when he won those bumpers. And that concludes day 2. Let's kick straight into day 3. This, of course, is one of the most trickiest days of the racing card. I think we kick it off with that Mayor's Novice Hurdle, a grade 2 contest over 2 miles 1. Bambino Fever, last year's bumper winner, heads the top of the betting at 4-5. Then you have Old School Outlaw for Gordon, JP runner, who was very, very impressive on his last 3 starts at 3-1, or she should I say. Then a very interesting runner, Declan Quealy's Carrigmore Spruce, who's changed hands and runs in some iconic flat colours. The Victorious Forever, this one of the Sheiks. The name of him escapes me now, but has a lot of very good talented flat horses. So could we see him dip the toe here into the jumping game? If he does, it would be a huge asset to the jumping game. We need those owners coming in, and I think it's a great owner for Declan Quealy to have in the yard. Carrigmore Spruce could hope it runs a cracker. There's one here at odds, Future Prospect. Runs in the very famous John Magner colours, and of course part owned with Bronson Racing. who have a lot of good horses and had Solonus win that Grade 1 at Christmas time. It'd be great. They have a couple of runners and on the week, and be great to see them have a winner or run well. I think this future prospect, this 6-year-old mare by Order St. George, I thought she was very, very good in debut over hurdles at Naas. Now, she hasn't been seen. That was in January. Yeah, I think she's, even if you go back through the form of her bumpers, she was well thought of in bumpers. She won a Fairy House bumper, beating Galileo Springs by 9 lengths in Fairy House. Then went to Leopardstown and was the choice of Paddy Mullins when at the DRF last year, but was beaten emphatically by Bambino Fever, and that was the race that Bambino Fever put me on the map to say that it would win at Cheltenham. Was then third behind Switch from Diesel, who's a very, very good horse in her own right, in a listed bumper, and her final bumper start was she finished middle of the field. But I thought she was very good in this, and I thought there was still a lot of greenness there, not greenness, more raw ability, and if she can harness that, and if they can go good tempo and she can settle, I think she'll give a good account of herself at 16-1. Future prospect could be just that in the opening race of day 3. Then we're going to go to the Jack Richards Novice Handicap Chase. It's a Grade 2 contest. It's a Grade 2 contest, and there's 2 in here, okay? At the minute, the Kim Roog that Joseph O'Brien trains has had 6 starts over fences, but has only 3 of those since joining from France. You need 5 starts over hurdles and 5 starts over fences, so qualifies in here to run in these handicaps. Is entered in 3 of them on the week, so it'll be interesting where she turns up. And the other one is Wingman, who I think is he will give a good account of himself. I think if you go back to his form, he hasn't won over fences, but if you go back to his form, the horses that he's been beaten by, they're all Grade 1 horses. I think coming back in here into what is arguably a lesser quality type of a race, you're going back into handicap from graded, even though it's a Grade 2, but it's still a Grade 2 handicap. I think Winman will give a good account of himself here in the second race in the card. Then we're going to go to the Mayor's Hurdle. This, of course, will Lossiemouth turn up here? I don't think she will. We do. Very short, 4 to 5. Gordon napped her last year, and I see he's already napped her this year. Will take the beating. Jade DeGrugy, for me, though, she's a 2-time winner, Grade 1 winner over hurdles. She's also a Grade 2 winner over fences. I was in Thurles, as most you know. I'd be at every Thurles meeting, local track. I thought she was absolutely scintillating. No, it wasn't really much of a contest. We only had 6 runners, but she beat Taraziz, Henry's mare, by 18 lengths. And she has some good form in her own right. So for me, I think Jade DeGrugy here could be the one. I'd rather take a chance with Jade DeGrugy at a price. She's around 7-2 or 4-1 at the minute. Of course, if Lossiemouth doesn't go here, she will be probably, you're talking around 2-1, I think. So for me, I'd rather take a chance now with Jade DeGrugy. Then we're going to go to the feature race of the... Yeah, it's the feature race for me, the Stairs Hurdle. It's Tiafu here, 2-1 tops the market. Tiafu for me, look, I'm a big fan of him. I think to stay in division, you probably have always the best of them coming to the top all the time. There's no hiding place. You have to do what it says. You have to stay. But I think Impose a 10-1 represents tremendous value each way for me. Nikki Henderson's JP runner here. If you go back through her form, I think it's been battle-proof really. Now, she was the last day beaten by Ma Shantou at the track, but I think it's just she was on an off day like that. She didn't jump the way she can normally jump. Or should I say he? But if you go back to his 3 starts this season have been, I thought before that, were breathtaking. Won a handicap, impressive by 3 parts in Aintree, then went to Newbury and beat strong leader in that grade 2, the long distance, by a half a length. Then went on and beat strong leader by a length and a quarter in the grade 1 long walk. And that race, them 2 races are a great stepping stone down through the years for this race. And I think Impose Trois for me represents the value here at 10-1 each way in the stairs. Then we're going to go to the co-feature race. For me, it's down now as race. It's the 4 o'clock, which is normally the feature race, but for me the stairs is always going to be the feature on day 3. Then this is the Ryanair, 2.5 miles, Factor File. He's going to take all the beating here for me. Factor File is going to take all the beating. I was really fancying Gaelic Warrior. He's probably going to go to the Gold Cup now that Galloping the Champs is out of the Gold Cup. I really fancied Gaelic Warrior for whatever race he turns up in, whether it was the Gold Cup or here. I just think if he turned up here, he would win. So if he does turn up here, I think Gaelic Warrior will win. I think he'll beat Factor File, but for me, Factor File is going to take the beating. Yeah. I'm just going to keep it short and simple here. I think if Gaelic Warrior turns up, he wins, but if not, Factor File will just have to coast around, basically. I think it'll be some race if the two can turn up, but I can't see it, being honest with you. Then we're going to go to the Per Thames Network final. There's one that catches my eye in here. Emmett Mullins' Melbourne Shamrock. As I said, hurdlers need to have 5 starts. Is it 5 or 6? Anyway, qualifies in. It won a qualifier last day in Ace, and that was only little over 2 weeks by the time the festival goes around. Thought was very good. It was only beating Manila Saxo by a neck, but both of those were a long way clear. They were 5.5 lengths clear, and that Manila Saxo is a very good horse in his own right for Gordon. I just think that this could be a map layout. So Melbourne Shamrock for me runs in those called famous Sam or the Whaley Cohen colours, and I think Melbourne Shamrock for me represents very, very good value each way. Then we're going to go to the final race of day 3. This is the Kim Muir. Very sweet on one here. As I said, there was another one running. It doesn't run now, but Joseph's Kim Rogue, if it turns up here, as I said, multiple entered. If it turns up here, it could be very eye-catching to see who rides it, and I think could be a festival layout maybe. So Kim Rogue if it turns up. Then we're going to go to the final day of the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. This is a Triumph hurdle to kick things off. The first race on the card, of course. What will turn up here? Selma Devari for me is going to take the beating of 4-1. Very eye-catching run, I thought, on its Irish debut. This, I actually mentioned her in my DRF festival preview. I thought she was going to come on an awful lot from that, and if you see where she finished, she was second, beaten 4.5 lengths by Narcisse Haas, who was short price favourite for this race, and picked up a niggle and was a non-runner about 2 weeks ago, but beat Monge too by a length and a half. But you see the work it done late after the run she done early on, and Selma Devari could be a very good one again here for Rich Ritchie, a French recruit. We know what he's done down through the years with these French recruits, Willie Mullins in those colours. I think Selma Devari for me is going to take a lot of beating for me in the Triumph. The one that can see if Willie leaves a load of minute. He won the race last year with a 100-1 shot, Ponross, who was making his hurdle debut. This Manila Academy won one of those academy races, if that's what they're called. This is an academy hurdle, so it was well named. Manila Academy was very, very good. It was an 8-length winner beating Wisp Wopt, after butchering the name, one of Dennis Hogan's, but won by 8 lengths. Came from that Manila school of talented juvenile horses. So the John Allen school, that is, and for me, acquired by the HOS Syndicate, who has had that Breeders' Cup winner. They've had winners all everywhere. Royal Ascot. And they're probably going to have a winner at the festival. They've some nice ones in some of those handicaps and that. But I think this Milan Academy, if it turns up here, hasn't been seen since being purchased. So has yet to run for Willie. 1 November in Cork. Those academy hurdles you can still run in a maiden hurdle after, but like Willie Mullen is not going to worry about winning a maiden hurdle. I think it's a good incentive in ways, and some other ways I don't understand it. But for me, I think can very outrun its odds at 25s if it turns up here. But for me, I think Selma de Barry could put in a performance here in the Triumph. Then we're going to go to the county hurdle. Again, this is a puzzle race. There's a lot of quality in the race this year. A lot of graded horses here holding entries that could be like Amsterdam is interesting. I think he's going to run well in Champion Hurdle if he runs there. Back to each way in the Champion Hurdle a couple of weeks ago. Turns up here is going to take a lot of beating for me. Will carry 12 stone though, top weight if it does run here, Amsterdam. But if it does run here, Connections have won the race with it. I think before it was a Statement that won this race a couple of years back. Yeah, but the other one in at massive odds, if it does turn up here, is Jump Allen. But I can see him going maybe a different route than here. But again, at 40 to 1, if it turns up here, Jump Allen. So for me, Willie's 2, you have Amsterdam and Jump Allen, 2 big price runners here. Then we're going to go to the third race in the card. This is the Mayor's Chase. It's a grade 2 contest over 2.5 miles. Splendidberry for me, if it can bounce back after being pulling up in the Gold Cup. I think things that she wasn't right, or so there was some issue after the Gold Cup. They said it. She was breathtaking. I really wanted her to go to the festival last year. She didn't. Dino Blue, look, is going to take the beating. She's been here, done it. It's her race to lose, I think, Dino Blue. But for me, the Splendidberry, she could be the new kid on the block. And if that effect of the DRF hasn't taken its toll, I think Splendidberry will give some account of herself. And I'm going to side with Splendidberry here to take the Mayor's Chase. Then we're going to kick straight to the 4 race in the card, the Albert Bartlett. It's a grade 1 contest for juveniles over 3 miles. Dr. Steinberg, for me, I'm all over him. I think he does the job impressively. What he done in the DRF was absolutely breathtaking. Like, for a horse to win the way he did in Leopardstown, from the way he ran in the first third or the first half of the race where he was so keen and free, like, horses like that don't get home, and if they do, they scamper home. This lad pulled away and won by 8 lengths. Like, he won like he was only put into the race. I think he's got some engine, this Dr. Steinberg, and for me, this is the Albert Bartlett I think it's tailor made for him. He's got all the attributes for it. And at 3 to 1, I think he should be shorter, and I think he will be shorter, especially when it cuts up. I'll sort that for the Queely Connect Yard. I think he'll run some sort of a race. I'll be hoping he runs into the frame for Connections, because what he done as well at the DRF was breathtaking. And of course, Declan rode him himself, or sorry, not the DRF, and in Naas he won the Ballymore, the grade 1, and that was amazing, and it was great scenes after. And I'd love to see him run a race. I'd love to see him win, but for me, I'm going to side with Dr. Steinberg. I just think the way he won his grade 1 at the DRF, you couldn't be but impressed. And if he settles and tanks into the race, what he could do here is he could put a hurdle between these lads. I really think that. I think Dr. Steinberg is the business. But again, I wouldn't like to see him run as free as he did, the way he did at the DRF, being honest with you, because I don't know if he'll get up the hill in Cheltenham. But the way he finished his race, from the way he did at the DRF, he is a monster, I think. And I think if he can harness that raw ability early on, what he could do at the finishing end will be breathtaking. Then we're going to go to the feature race of the whole festival, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Of course, this for me is the race of the festival. I'm just gutted because Galloping the Champs was a non-runner about 2 or 3 hours ago, and I was so sweet on this lad, and I was really hoping he would regain his crown like Cato Star, them great horses have done. He was a 2-time winner in the race. He was second in last year's renewal, and a good second at that. And I just think, I was backing him a few weeks ago at 12 to 1 and 10 to 1. I was telling everyone to keep backing him, because I just thought he was going to come back and win. And at the prices he was, I couldn't see him being out of the first 3. But anyway, as a race enthusiast, I'm really gutted he's not making the trip over touch wood, everything he's okay, and we'll see him back. And if not, hopefully he's going to be retired safe and sound. But we're without him, so let's talk about what's left in the race. We've got Gaelic Warrior top of the market now. For me, he was the other one. He was the eye catcher for me at Dublin Racing Festival. He is, you know, he won the Arkle. He was second in the Ballymore the year before that, but for me, I think he's going to take all the beating here. And if you look at his run at Leopardstown behind Factor File, he was only beaten 5 lengths. I just think he was the eye catcher for me, even though he ran a great race, incredible race. I just think if you look at certain races, catch your eye, and for me, I just thought he was going to be a Gold Cup winner if Galloping wasn't up to par. I was actually telling people that Willie was going to have a 1-2 in the race. Django Boy, second favourite, King George winner, then Jukebox Man. And last year's winner, who is going to have to bounce back, but the money's coming, and it came last year, and we all seen what he done last year. But for me, he has a lot of work to do to come back to where he won the race the way he did last year for Gavin Cromwell. But Gavin Cromwell's a great trainer, so he can get him back. I know the way you're thinking. Then you have Rebecca Curtis's Haughty of Colours, not without a chance, won the 4 mile handicap, the final handicap on the opening day last year. I was there, watched him come up the hill. He tanked up the hill. It'd be a great story for Rebecca Curtis. He went and won an Irish National after that, and looked very impressive this year as well, winning those races on the way here. Spillane's Tower for me, Jimmy Mangan. What an absolute legend of a man, a gentleman, and it'd be great to see Spillane's Tower win. And I hope he wins now, because it's just a story for me. You meet Jimmy, you see Jimmy at the likes of Thurles there in the winter. He's got his coloured hat on, the purple and gold hat, of course, the Connacht Castle colours, if you remember him, and the knitted hat. And he'll talk. Jimmy Mangan is the people's man. Like, he's one of our own. Like, he will come over and he will talk to Joe, or he'll talk to Paddy, or he'll talk to anyone the way he'll talk to anyone. He's a gentleman, and it'd be great to see him come back here with Spillane's Tower and win a Gold Cup. He was pleading for connections to let him run this race, and I hope he runs a great race, and I hope he wins. But for me, Gaelic Warrior is the one they all have to beat. I'm going to side with Gaelic Warrior to win, and the one I'm going to go with at mad each way odds is Affordale Fury, if he can bounce back from his run in the Irish Gold Cup at the DRF. Affordale Fury. Super impressive in Thurles when he beat Appreciated by 4 and nearly just under 5 lengths, but then went out at Leopardstown at Christmas in the Savills Chase and trounced Ian Maxis and the rest of the fields by 2.5 lengths. Sam Ewan took the ride. I think he's Sam's ride. I think he was injured the last day. I think he was injured in Thurles as well or something. I think it'll either be Sam or Donald Myler that'll ride him. Two great riders. Nolan Mead, his great record down through the years at Cheltenham, he doesn't run him. This lad was actually second behind Stay Away Faye in the Albert Bartlett back in 23 at huge odds. So that was the only time we've seen him in Cheltenham, and ran a cracker, was only beaten a length. So has run well at the one time he was at the track and at the festival, and has been in super form this year. Arguably pulled up the last day, but I can't remember not the excuse, but the reason behind it, because I think they said something, but I think he's been fine since, and all systems go here. Affordale Fury, I think on the day you're going to get extra places. You could get 4 maybe on the day if all these stay in it. But I'm going to go Affordale Fury each way, but Gaelic Warrior for the win for me in the Gold Cup. And I'll probably, even if I back Gaelic Warrior, I'll be shouting home Spillane Towers if he wins, because Jimmy Mangan, as I said, is a legend of the game. Okay, then we're going to go to the Hunter's Chase, basically. It's 3 mile, 2 furlongs, Hunter's Chase. Panda Boy, arguably for me, is the one they bought off. Last year's winner, Wonderwall, comes back here. Favourite now. Sam Curlin knows the time of day. Will give a good account of himself. I think he'll run a cracking race. 7-2 for me is just a little bit short. Look, he's won a point to point this year. It'll be all systems go. He looked very, very good in that point to point if you go back through it, and I'd say it was just a freshen up to get him ready for the day. Statler though for me, Faye Banbury's runner, of course, trains out of AP McCoy's yard, runs in the colours of Ronnie Bartlett. But this lad, the last day, Paddy Mullins came over to Fakenham and rode it, and I imagine that he came over to ride it too because he's going to ride it here. Now, I haven't seen or confirmed that, but you'd imagine so. This lad was with Willie back for all down through the years. Was a winner of the National Hunt Cup. Back in 22, was it? 22, yeah. Was impressive that day. Then went to the Gold Cup the following year. Was pulled up, but he was only 16-1 chance in that. He hasn't ran a whole pile since. Changed yards, two starts back. Was second on debut for the new year in the Open Unders Chase, and then was very good, as I said, when Paddy came over to ride and faking him. So if he comes back to that form, the fact that Paddy went over and rode it already, I'm going to split stakes though. I'm going to go, instead of having a tenner on each of them, or on one of them, I'm going to have a fiver on Panda Boy and Statler. But again, if Wonderwall wins, I'd be delighted for Connections because they're a great bunch of lads, Sam and the boys. Then we're going to go to the final race of the whole 2026 Cheltenham Festival, a race I've been lucky enough to pick the winner of in a number of years. I'm not going to harp on down through it. Those days are gone, the past tense. We're trying to get the winner of this year. I want to see what declares, being honest with you. I'm going to come back on, I said, every day, flag to finish on Instagram, flag to finish all of my platforms. It'll be up every day to see what declares, where the money coming for, what yards are running like through the week. But for me, two to catch the eye here, Kel his story for Willie Mullins in the colours of JP. Be interested to see what jockey to use here. As I said, it's for the conditional riders. If you go back 4 starts back, was second behind Salvador Monday in the grade 2, the Moscow Flyer. That was January 25, then went to the Turners. Didn't run much of a race, but he's only run twice since, and he could be laid out for this race, Kel Starry. The other one then that is entered here as well, I've mentioned him a few times, is Jump Allen. He was 25s or that. He's 16s now, so maybe they could be going here, and it could be the one where I think I'm really sweet with this Jump Allen in any of these handicaps, and for me the vibes are maybe he could be going here. I was looking at this lad, he was about 33s at the time. I haven't bet on him yet, and I'm probably kicking myself because he's 16s now and he's half the price. You'll get your money back, as I said, no bet. So I'm going to shop around, see can we get a bit of 20s or 25s. But for me, a Bile Sports at the minute are 16s, and I think he could be laid out for one of these handicaps, being honest with you. Jump Allen. So that concludes my 2026 Cheltenham preview. I've put it out before declarations or before the Friday entries. It'll be interesting to see what happens and who goes where. I'm going to come back on, as I said, most of my socials and do a preview and a recap every day. I'll try and get back onto YouTube as well. Maybe I can try multi-stream it. I need to learn more about this streaming, but we need to build the views. So if you can hit the likes and share buttons, it's greatly appreciated. We've tipped some big prize winners down through the years. Hopefully we do it again this year, or even get a couple of them placed in Lucky 15. Again, I'm not going to reiterate it too often, but this is all about a bit of fun. We all like to enjoy Cheltenham, so enjoy it. Use it as a hobby. Use your spare change. Make sure it's not money that you need for something. If it's loose in your pocket, enjoy it and roll with it. And whether it wins, loses or draws, well, you can't really have a draw. But if it wins or loses, it's not going to affect us. It's all about a bit of fun. First and foremost, jockeys, trainers, or jockeys and horses come back safe and sound. I've been Mark Fanning. I've been harping on too long. I'm going to sign off. Flag to finish racing for your 2026 Cheltenham preview.